Look how far we've come, all the things we've done. Did it all with love, beauty from the bottom up. All I want is you, you're my favorite view. But there's nothing more, girl, you make my heart beat.
And we are back.
We are back, Bumble Bitches.
Just so everybody can see this before we get started, I don't want anybody to not be aware of what my shirt says, because people will be watching like, man, I really wonder what he said, what his shirt says.
Yep. Gotta move your necklace.
Let me get this out of the way. I know you're watching. Thank you. I know that you're probably watching live because you pay for our Patreon. Thank you. Pay those bills.
Oh, okay.
Bills, bills, bills. I don't know the lyrics to the song. I just pay my automobiles. It's the only thing I got. So, what do we got going today? What are we doing?
I don't have anything.
No?
No.
I just bought you a laptop. That's exciting.
I am pretty excited about that. It's going to be nice to have my own device to be able to write my book on or play Arena if we're doing that at home. Why are you smirking?
Because we both have the magic bug again.
We do.
I've spent more time than I care to admit deck building.
Yeah.
And like trying to tweak decks that I haven't played since like 2021.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been fun to get back into it and play again. We had a game last night where I was down to 3 life.
Yeah,
and
then
my deck comboed off, and I won with 222 life and milled your deck out.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
Yep.
Pretty wild. I also don't really have anything new to talk about. We're going to be doing multiple lives today. We'll be doing this one. We'll be doing a Friday episode, and then you'll be going live tonight at 6 with Buff Bell.
Yes.
And drinking some wine and doing whatever else it is that you do. I do want to mention that we are doing a couples retreat in June. We are doing a couples retreat June 20th through the 23rd. There are currently 4 spots left. It is $2,000 a couple. If you guys are here and you want to go to that couples retreat, you need to send an email to tobebetterco@gmail.com. Put in couples retreat. It'll be four of us hosting, the 2 of us, and then Belle and her husband. There will be a Friday night dinner where everybody gets to know each other, where we sit down and have an actual dinner. That's included. The Saturday situation will be all seminar, coaching, relationship problems, etc. And then Sunday is a hangout day with mini boudoir sessions available if you want to go that route with Jonathan, Belle's husband. And then everybody leaves Sunday or Monday. But that is available. So if you guys are interested in the couples retreat, send an email to tobebetterco@gmail.com so that we can get some information to you. Payment will be due at the end of March so that I can book the hotel. It will be in Florida. The home. It will be in Florida. Travel is not included. Some of the meals will be included because we'll have finger foods and shit as we go. But this is a whole ass thing. So 4 spots left, possibly a 5th, depending on the size of the home we get. But we're looking at a 7 or 8 bedroom, big ass house, hopefully on the water.
Yeah.
So
that would be dope.
It will be. Super pumped. Much excite. Super pumped, much excite.
I appreciate the people in the chat commenting on my dress. This is pushing my comfort zone
It's
today.
so good though. I love the I'm not wearing the same shit all the time, Peach.
Yeah.
And I love that you're not comfortable. That white dress with the beige bottom that you wore the other day was slamming.
Yeah.
I'm really good at picking out clothes for you.
You are.
It's like I, look at you all the time.
Right.
I did make that shirt. I did make the shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for asking.
Excuse me.
Because fuck them.
Fuck them.
All right, let's jump into some emails.
All right.
We'll just problem solve today, I guess.
One says, help, how do I deal with a midlife crisis?
By buying a new car. Or 5.
Yeah.
It works for like a week. Then remorse kicks in.
Yeah. I guess I should start this with the fact that our communication has always been lacking. I had a childhood with emotional turmoil and being told to never be vulnerable. Despite this, I tried my best to allow myself to be vulnerable with partners. However, there was a time in this relationship where it was used against me, and because of that, I've had difficulty trying to communicate with him more so. My methods Okay, I have to pause. I wish you had included how that was used against you. Because somebody trying to negatively manipulate you with your past and your traumas is different from you perceiving something and getting your feelings hurt because you're reading too far into it.
I would have liked to have known if this was a man or a woman writing in.
Yeah.
Because this is a very common thing with men.
Yeah.
And it is weaponized against us. And a lot of the times it's a matter of, you know, we'll have something happen and we'll get emotional, and then an argument will break out and we'll get emotional, and well, you're just an emotional person. You fucking cried everything, you pussy. Like there's a whole lot that it's very ugly the way that it's manipulated and used against men. Would definitely have liked an example.
My methods often weren't healthy or helpful, but they were the best I could manage at the time. He, on the other hand, had unsupportive to straight up abusive parents and shuts down/avoids any kind of communication. He always told me things like, it's in the past. He has always told me things like, it's in the past, or why can't you get over it? But the situations were never even acknowledged on his part and left to fester. We were probably damned from the start, but it's been almost 12 years of going through the motions with little to no real communication.
How in the fuck did you make it that long? How can you, so you have zero resolved conflict in 12 years.
I'd be miserable.
Clearly. There's no way. There's no way that I would want to live with somebody that can't talk to me about what's going on.
Right.
Where's like, I'm not okay right now and I need somebody to lean on. I need my husband. I need my wife. I need my partner right now. This happened and it really fucked me up. Like I need support. Like that's the whole point of being married. I hate that.
Continuing on. We are both approaching mid-30s, 33 female and 34 male. We've been together since November 2012. We've had 2 kids in that time, with our youngest being 4. Things haven't always been easy. In fact, there were years after our first where there was so much turmoil. I had bad postpartum. I didn't feel like myself for about 5 years. Things started to get better. However, when I became pregnant with our second, and it was as if my partner got the postpartum issues this time. He had to be much more hands-on with our second child as I was pumping 24/7.
It's not a post. Okay, so we do know that there is a postpartum thing that affects men.
Yeah.
I know that scientifically there's data that backs that up. I just don't believe it.
Yeah.
I don't trust the science.
Yeah.
But I would like to point out that in that situation, there's a whole lot more hands-on that he's having to do while she's pumping. There's now further distance between 2 people. There's a whole lot of new stressors that come in. So of course people are going to be affected that way. And this is something that people don't think about when you have a kid. It's not going to be the same as it was before. Sexy time isn't going to happen as much. Date nights aren't going to happen as much. The financial freedom that you had isn't going to be there. A whole lot of shit's going to change when you have kids.
I also know that saying I was pumping 24/7 is an over-exaggeration. If you truly believe that, though, that's an excuse.
Yeah.
Right? I've done the breastfeeding thing. I've done the pumping thing. There were times where my whole day, I was just sitting in a chair cluster feeding. I was still able to get up, walk around, do things, interact with my other child, change diapers, cook if I had to.
Right.
Postpartum is not fun. Motherhood is a very glamorized thing, especially when the newborn's there and you guys should be happy and life is joyous and all these other kinds of things. The dark underside of that is there's a lack of sleep. You no longer, when I had both of my kids and they were newborns, I didn't feel like a person anymore. I felt like cattle that was simply here to provide something for another being's survival. Like I had no hobbies. There was nothing that I was enjoying doing. And added on top of that, I was miserable in my first marriage. There was very little emotional support going on. There were a lot of arguments happening. So I can understand the negative perspective of all of it. I just wanted to comment on, if you truly believe, like saying things to yourself, I was pumping 24/7 and this is why that was happening. Well, that's not true.
Right.
Okay. The way that we say things and the way that we tell our story matters.
Right. Well, and that story changes the more we tell it.
Right.
Because memory's selective.
Yeah.
Like you will remember something very differently in a year than you remember it a week from it happening or the day that it happened, because we tend to forget details. We remember the things that made us feel a certain way. And we may not even remember the conversation, but I remember that you made me feel like,
Right.
Right. And that's very much a thing. So in her mind at this point, looking back, she probably does feel like all she did was breastfeed.
Yeah.
The reality is it's just not true.
Right.
Yeah. Good point, babe.
Continuing on, he had difficulties / extra stressors at work and even quit his job. I stood by him, didn't attack him for the financial instability that followed. I recognized he needed support and did my best to offer it. In less than a year, he was working regularly again. However, during the 4 years since then, we have been roommates at best. There has been no time for us. We have both ignored the other for our phones. It seemed recently that he was withdrawing from me even more, and I wanted to get back on track. Okay, so I want to pause there. Getting back on track already looked like shit for you guys. So we're not trying to get back on track. We're trying to rebuild the foundation of what we want our relationship to be.
Yeah, there's nothing to get back to. You guys don't communicate.
Right.
I want to point out on this whole situation that they already know what the problem is.
Yeah.
She just listed it. They're on their phones all the time and they don't talk.
Mm-hmm.
They're roommates. Right now, we are parents. Mm-hmm. We're taking care of our children. And this is a lot easier to do together than it would be if we were living separate. And if they're married, there would be child support and alimony coming through. Like,
right.
It's cheaper to keep her, right? Like if we're both miserable and this is working for us in life and we are okay, this is comfort.
Yeah. Continuing on, I had been hoping it would be 4 to 5 years, like it had been with me, to where he would start to feel like himself again. He has always said, just tell me what you want and I'll do it. So instead of going with my usual approach of just things need to change / I don't feel loved, I made more direct, I want / need statements. Such as someone who wants to spend time with me, include me in their day, and not avoid me either deliberately or with a distraction such as their phone. He decided to end things, completely pull away and end things. Okay, well, what does that mean? Are you guys no longer in a relationship?
Sounded like the relationship's over. I really, this is the times that I wish I was a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
Because saying I made it more direct, I want and need statements such as I want someone to spend time with me or who wants to spend time with me and include me in their day and not avoid me either deliberately or with a distraction. I'm willing to bet that conversation did not sound like that.
Right.
I'm willing to bet that this happened in conflict and there was a whole lot of ugliness and shade being thrown around.
A lot of emotion.
And that might have been the intent to get those things across. When you're hurt, it's very hard to have those conversations. Mm-hmm. And for him to just end it after making all of those statements, he either that was the case or he was like, I can't give that to you. I'm out.
Yeah. Continuing on. This is also not the first time he has gone to ending things, but always by the next morning has gone away from that and trying to be a family / using the kids as a way to spend time together, as if he didn't just step on my heart the night before. I recognize that we would have a lot of work to repair things, and that maybe it's for the best that we end things, but I'll be damned if I don't want to try one time. Somebody jumping to let's just end things is a trauma response.
It is. It absolutely is.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of issues internally that he's dealing with, if that's his go-to, or not dealing with.
Yeah.
I should say.
Repressing.
Yeah. Yep.
We got caught up in having kids in the aftermath and put not only ourselves, but our relationship on the back burner, almost the entirety of it. I know I'm at a place where I can better communicate and have a healthier standpoint, so I think on my end it's worth a shot. He is, however, depressed and stressed and not at a point where he could give me anything. One of his reasons for the breakup was he can't have my happiness and emotional well-being on his shoulders. He can't even have his.
So that he's right.
Right.
On the first part of that. Second part is absolutely incorrect. You are responsible for you and you alone. I'm not responsible for your mental health, your happiness or otherwise. Do I want to do things that's going to bring you joy? Absolutely. Is that my responsibility in life to make sure that you are mentally taken care of? No, it's really not.
It's not your job to bring me happiness. It's your job to add to my happiness.
Right. I mean, so far, I don't know where we're at with all of this, but so far with everything that's been stated, they can't communicate. He threatens to leave all the time or has ended this over and over and over again. She's moving and growing and doing things and he's not even working on his own mental health. There's no reason to go back.
Yeah.
Like this is not even something that I would recommend. If you guys are already broken up, you're golden right now.
Yeah.
Start doing the fucking work. Start healing the last 12 years or 14 years of your life or however long you guys have been doing this bullshit and find somebody that's got a little bit more emotional maturity and be happy.
Yeah. I also want to touch on, he can't have my happiness and emotional well-being on his shoulders. I know you already talked about it. I just really want to drive that nail home. Your emotional well-being is on you. Your mental health is on you. Now, if he's going out of his way to rip the scab off as you're trying to heal, that's a problem. If this could be the time, you saying that you are in a healthier spot, you know how to communicate things better. You might need to be his support pillar. You might have to have a little bit of grace. You might be the giver for a little bit while he tries to get his headspace right. Continuing on.
No, because this is not just, this is he's the problem and I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm doing all these things. He's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to communicate. He doesn't. Like, obviously you don't.
Right.
Because communication is a two-way street.
Mm-hmm.
If you are just talking to someone and they're not understanding or able to really
comprehend,
right, you're talking to a wall. You're not communicating at that point. You're just wasting your breath.
Mm-hmm.
He can't have my happiness and emotional well-being on his shoulders. Makes me wonder how many times in their relationship has she tried to put that on him for him to finally be like, I can't do this for you.
Right. That's a lot of pressure.
It is. This is why we tell, we've talked about this. We've talked about this recently with the peace thing. In the beginning, I've always said, like, you're my peace. Protect your peace. Like, that's been a big fucking conversation on the podcast. I had peace. You added to it. Like, you brought value to my life, but you are not responsible for my depression or my mental illness and my triggers and my traumas and all of that shit. The only thing that I can hope is that you're willing to, like you said, be a fucking pillar so that I have somebody to help hold me up while I'm going through all the shit that I'm going through.
Yep.
But that ugliness and all that's not on the other person. There's a whole lot wrong with this so far.
Yeah, I agree. Continuing on.
Yep.
Before the breakup, he would talk to me throughout the day about dumb stuff, memes, videos, work stuff, etc. Then come home and go straight past me and spend most of the evening avoiding me. Then we'd get in bed and he'd be on his phone / have nothing to say. Now that we're 2 weeks past him ending things, I'm almost constantly sick to my stomach. He no longer talks to me while he's at work unless I initiate.
Well, you guys aren't together anymore.
Right.
So what's the problem? Why do you need to talk to him at work? You guys need clean breaks.
Yes.
When your relationship's over, you guys need to take time where you only speak for necessity.
Mm-hmm.
Kid's got a doctor appointment, dentist appointment.
Dinner's in the microwave.
I mean, hopefully they're not living together.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Right?
Well, she just said then we'd get in bed and he'd be on his phone, and it's been 2 weeks. And she didn't say if he moved out or not.
Right. That should happen.
Yeah. I don't understand the mindset of wanting to cling to somebody after they've broken up with you. You guys are not going to continue having the same conversations. The jokiness is not going to be there. That's no longer your person.
Right. Before you move on, RGS Rose, I saw your comment saying that there wasn't enough information or there was incorrect information or something in your Q&A that we did. If you got an answer that helped you, you don't have to send anything else. We're not judging you or like thinking about, I got to be honest, I can't even tell you what your question was.
Me either.
We did a lot that day and have done a lot since then. So unless you feel like you need more than we gave you, I would just let it go.
Yeah.
If you need something more, send an email.
Before I spoke to him about my needs, he even stopped telling me he was coming home most days, and he definitely doesn't do it now. Oddly, since the breakup, he'll spend more time around me.
No obligation.
Right. There's no pressure.
Right.
He sits in the living room with me, again on his phone, and not really acknowledging me unless I acknowledge him first. The few times I've made an attempt, he's let slip that he's stressed at work, and it's really reminding me of when he walked out of his job 4 years ago. Except this time, I'm the one that he walked out on.
Oh, the victim mentality is hard with this one.
12 years is a very long time.
Yeah.
And 12 years is also a long stint to train someone what to expect in being in a relationship with you.
All right, guys, as you know, there was a TikTok scare. We lost the app for a whole 12 hours and we have no idea what the future of the app looks like. And with that, we are very concerned about the loss of our following. We have amassed almost 3 million followers across that platform with all 4 of our accounts. And we are trying to push people to other social media platforms so that in the event that anything happens on one app, we have multiple other backup plans. If you want to make sure that you're not missing any content, we highly recommend that you check out our Patreon.
On Patreon, we have multiple tiers to choose from. Starting at $10, you begin to receive exclusive content. At $15 a month, you get access to our private Discord server where we've amassed an absolutely amazing community of supportive people. And beyond that, we have other tiers to check out, along with my 2 private women's group, if that's something you may be interested in.
Guys, on our $15 and higher tier, you have access to live recordings. We record all of our content 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a week, live in front of our Patreon audience, where they are able to chat with us while we're recording. They get to see all the flirting, the outtakes, the hot topic conversations that never actually make it on the podcast. And it's really worth that aspect in itself. We have an After Dark where we sit down usually once a week and have a glass of bourbon, or in Peach's case, a glass of wine and a bowl of cheese. And we have a whole lot of fun conversations, karaoke in the Discord. We finish the lyrics. We literally just hang out, and you guys get to hang out with us. There is a host of other perks, including Zoom calls that are coming for the ultimate tier, so that if you guys are having problems, you can talk to us. It also gives you the heads up on private meet and greets, because when we travel, we try to meet up with people on our Discord on a regular basis. There's a whole slew of other perks that come through Patreon. I highly recommend that you check it out.
The best way to support what we are doing is to share the content. The second best way is to check out our Patreon. Thank you guys for being here.
Trash Panda, we can do a little Q&A when we're done with the episode, because I saw a couple questions pop up. I know you guys are waiting. Normally, for those of you who are new to Patreon, when we do these lives, they're just live recordings. We will interact with the chat throughout it, but we don't really do Q&As, except for when we do like our After Darks and shit like that. So I was like, are you ready? They're just not up.
Yeah. Okay.
She said that this happened 4 years ago when he quit his job.
Yeah.
And now he's doing it to me. He walked out on me. Did he?
Right.
Or did you guys have problems and he finally realized that you're not making him happy, or like
he can't provide what you need?
Right. That's where I meant to go with that. There's no happiness in the household. I'm shocked as fuck he hasn't moved out yet. So they are really truly together out of comfort.
Yeah.
They're able to survive right now because the money together is able to pay the bills and they're able to be there for the kids. Anybody, when you guys break up, when a relationship is over and you guys decide to quit, somebody needs to leave.
Yes.
Yeah. Move the fuck out.
Yeah. Reading on, he has said he isn't in love with me anymore. He cares, but that's it. He doesn't think he could regrow feelings for me. Things are over. However, he's had emotional reactions to me asking if I should be single, see other people, or that doesn't seem like he still loves me. That one was a tearful, of course I still love you, but it's not the same.
What do you mean if I'm asking, should I be single? You said he stepped out on you. You are single.
You are single.
You guys are a fucking mess.
Yeah, she's really trying to cling on.
Yeah.
Really trying to cling on.
This is not Star Trek. No cling on.
I've been emotional after breakups.
Normal.
Right.
It hurts for both people, whether you've been the breakup or the breakup E.
Yeah. I think breakup E is correct.
Or E.
You're a heartbreaker.
Yeah.
I've cried after breakups. I knew it was the right desertion.
Desertion?
I knew it was the right decision to end the relationship. And still cried about it because even though I'm no longer in love with the person, I love people.
Right.
Especially if I've cared about you for a certain amount of time, I don't want to be the cause of your pain.
Sympathy.
And him becoming emotional about these things or becoming teared up. It's been 12 years. I bet this man thought that he was going to die with you. And if that's no longer the case for him, yeah, I would be torn up about it too.
This is why you should leave.
Yeah. Continuing on, I truly believe he's got an internal turmoil going on and I'm his scapegoat. He has also said that he doesn't know what he wants, that he's a shell of his former self, which is apparently my doing, but he's the one who allowed it.
Oh, here we go. So he's the problem.
Yeah.
You're golden. You did nothing wrong at all in your relationship over the last 12 years. You're a fucking saint and he's not.
Yeah.
Good to know.
I need a second to process that. Perfect.
Carrie Ventura.
Scroll up a little bit, just a smidgen. He says that he's a shell of his former self, which is apparently my doing, but he's the one who allowed it.
I have a lot to say about that.
I also have a lot to say about that because what comes to my mind is, well, she allowed him to beat her ass.
Right.
Like, that's not how that works. Of course, people are in charge of their own boundaries. And when somebody lets something slide, right? And I'm taking it to an extreme. Abusive situations don't always start out with someone hitting somebody.
Right.
They're throwing things, or they're raising their voice, or they're using degrading names, or they're punching holes in the wall, and then it escalates. If he was allowing small things to slide of, oh, her tone was disrespectful. I don't like the way that she just spoke to me. Her attitude's a little bit too much. Well, but I love her, so I'm going to pick and choose my battles.
Yeah, I'm going to let it ride.
And then it continues to just go and go and go and go. He should have maintained his boundaries of, you're not going to speak to me this way. You're not going to treat me this way. This is not going to be my woman's behavior, right? Also, that which is apparently my doing, it's not apparently your doing. You did that shit. If he's telling you that you are part of the reason that he feels like the shell of a human being, that's his life. That is his version of the truth. That is his perspective of things. And you cannot tell him that he's wrong for that. I'm getting a little heated.
Well, that's a clip. So good job. And I have nothing to say now because that was everything I was going to get into. It's all training. And it is that 2 inches at a time of overstepped boundaries and letting shit ride to pick your battles, where things start of, I don't really appreciate that. And we need to work through this small thing. Now it's really fucking big. And I know nothing's going to change because all these small things haven't.
Right.
Even though I failed to communicate those things, like.
I've been a shell of my former self.
So have I.
And part of that's my own doing. I was the ground that people walked on instead of standing my ground. And that is on me. I should have said, you're not going to treat me this way. I'm not going to accept this behavior. If you want to act like that, you're not going to be in my life. But I loved the person.
Right.
Continuing on, he says he just wants to die and wants to continue on being unhappy and existential. He has completely rewritten the narrative of a relationship.
You don't have your relationship. Your relationship ended.
Right.
Okay.
I have never loved him, never been there for him, etc. I don't see how he can say that while I'm actively crying because I love him and this hurts me.
You think that you crying is enough to show that
you love them.
Right.
Yeah.
Or that you're somehow negating all the things that have happened because you've cried? What are you, 12?
Right. That's manipulation to me.
It absolutely is manipulation.
That is, if he looks back on your guys' relationship and he recognizes that he has had blinders on this whole time and he does not feel like he's been loved, you can't tell him he's wrong.
Right. Because that's his perception.
Right. There's a whole lot missing in this email.
Yeah. Yeah. Like his entire half of the story.
Right.
She said on there that she wrote, I have never loved him and never been there for him, etc. If that is how he views things, he could have worded it differently.
Yes.
In the entire 12 years that we have been together, I have not felt loved the way I need to be loved.
I can't think of an instance where you had my back.
Right. There could be a whole lot of other things that are stated there with examples, but you can't speak definitively and say that you never loved me because you don't know that.
Yeah.
She could have loved you and it's just not been the way that you needed to be a thing.
Right.
But saying that you've never been there for him, like that's huge. That's not a perception. If we were doing what we're doing and I was doing all of our life shit and you never thanked me and this was just taken for granted and this is what I'm supposed to be doing and I'm having bad days and you're telling me to suck it up, the dishes need to be done and I don't care that you fucking have a migraine, the kids need fucking their homework done, do their homework, bitch. Like,
where's the support?
Right.
So for those of you who don't know, we are currently recording live for our Patreon. If that's something you're interested in, you can check out our Patreon at patreon.com/tobebetter. And brother Zach, who's currently in the chat, he quoted and said, he says, I've never been there for him, but I don't see how he can say that when I'm sitting here crying. And then he says, because you crying isn't being there for him.
Good point.
You crying is making it about you and your hurt and your pain. You're not listening to what this man is telling you. This man is saying, I feel like you've never loved me the entirety of our relationship. I feel like I haven't been supported. I feel like I don't matter. Well, I'm crying because I do love you. How can you say these things to me? You're hurting me right now. My response would have been, I feel like I have been showing you love. I feel like I have gone out of my way to support you. So what are the things that stand out in your mind to make you feel this way? So going forward, I can correct that behavior.
That in order for that to be a thing, communication has to happen.
Right.
And here's another thought for all of you who are listening to this that's not in this relationship. If your communication is non-existent, because of every time I bring something to you, well, you know, I love you, here I am crying. And that manipulation shit happens. Of course, nothing's going to ever get resolved or brought up because every time I bring something to you, you start fucking crying and make it about you. So fuck me.
Yeah.
Right.
Clearly, you're the more important one here because once you start crying, the conversation has to end so you can feel better about it.
Real quick, Kalista asked about getting a signed version of my book. I have to order more of them. The first 40 that I ordered are sold out. I had extras that I ended up having to ship because I fucked up and shipped 6 books out without signing them.
Yeah.
But I will be ordering more of them today. I'm waiting on a deposit. And once the deposit hits, I'm going to end up picking up another 40 or 50 books. So it will be on the website soon. Just give me, I don't know. I'll let you guys know in the Discord. I'll add everybody and let you know how long it'll be before I get the next run of books.
Okay. Continuing on, I'm just going to reread the same sentence.
Okay.
I don't see how he can say that while I'm actively crying because I love him and this hurts me. Not only to be treated this way, but to see him in this place. I'm going to finish and then I'm not going to finish. I have to touch on that. Not only to be treated this way, but to see him in this place. So it hurts for you to see him in this place, but you still listed your feelings over his in that sentence. Everything seems like a midlife / identity crisis, and I don't know how to support him while I'm being pushed away. Even if there's no us, I want the father of my children to be happy and healthy, and he seems so far from it. Please, what can or should I say or do I just allow him to wallow and tear apart our family?
Your family's already torn apart.
Yeah.
You guys are done.
Yeah.
The fact that you're living together still is fucking weird. He needs to move out. You guys are not meant to be together. You don't know who your man is.
Right.
You might think you do, and you might have all these perceptions of him, but you guys don't even have conversations. You avoid each other. He sits on the phone. You don't talk about anything. He sends you memes. Like, you guys need to just separate. I guarantee you, when he finds another person, he's going to look very different than he does currently. And you were going to go, I don't know who this man is.
Yeah.
He wasn't like that with me. That's not the guy that I was with for 12 years. No, it was. You just didn't deserve that side of him.
You didn't nourish it.
Right.
Or water it.
It's crazy how that works out.
I would let him go. It's not your job to make him feel better, especially when you're no longer in a relationship. It's not your job, period, to make him feel better. You can go out of your way to try to make him smile or to make him happy. If there's things that he needs to work through, he can only do that on his own, by himself.
Yeah. I didn't enjoy that email.
Me either. That was it was very selfish. I don't know if the emailer recognizes that. It was very self-centered and about me. I would apologize to that man. If he truly feels the way that he feels and he felt like he was never loved properly in the relationship and there was no support and he's now a shell of a man because of the way that you treated him, I'm sorry that I did that to you.
It's hard to hear. Like, from a compassionate standpoint, that'd be really hard to hear.
It would.
If I came to you, though, and I was like, hey, our relationship isn't the same it was when we first got together. And I know it's been, 12 years and we've got 2 kids and we're just very disconnected, but I don't feel fulfilled. I feel like you don't love me. I feel like all the things that were listed. How would you handle that? What would you do about it? Like, because, it's going to hurt.
I would definitely cry.
Well, she did that too.
Right. I would cry, but I wouldn't make it about me. I would want to have conversations of, when did this start for you? When did you start feeling this way? Why did it take you so long to say something? In my mind, the reasoning it hasn't been brought up, or maybe it's been brought up in the past and it was ignored, is that you trained him to not, he knows you don't care about him.
Yeah.
The email showed it was very, I don't want to feel this way anymore. What can I do to make him feel better? Because I don't want to feel this way. I don't like what's going on. He's not talking to me anymore. He's hurting my feelings. He's making me cry. I would probe and I would want to know everything I could know. And I would want you to know that I want to fix this. And I'm not going to list out all of the things I'm going to change, because if I just say it and there's no action behind it, it doesn't matter.
If you ever have to say to your person, why didn't you tell me? Mm-hmm. It's because you're not a safe space.
Yeah.
They know that whatever they need to come to you with either is going to get thrown in their face. Mm-hmm. Nothing's going to change. You are going to turn it into about you. Victim mentality. You're the problem, not them.
Treat it like it doesn't matter.
Right. All of that shit happens. And that's the trained behavior that we've talked about for the last 3 years. Yeah. If that's your question, why didn't you come to me about this? You don't even need to ask. Because I just told you guys why that's the case. That'll never happen with us.
No.
The moment something happens that I don't like, I'm like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like, and that's happened. And you're like, what do you mean? I don't fucking know. But that was stated or that happened and I don't like the way it made me feel. And when I know why I don't like it the way it made me feel, I'll tell you. But right now I don't like that. Just so you know, that's not okay with me. That doesn't sit right.
Yeah.
Sometimes that conversation happens in 3 minutes. Sometimes it takes me a couple weeks to figure out what the fuck that was.
Yeah.
Sometimes that was nothing to do with you whatsoever. And it's me realizing that I'm forever going to be on a healing journey.
Right.
But that's important, right? Like, I don't know. It's just insane to me. It's insane to me.
Yeah.
That was one of the big things that we had in the beginning of our relationship was I don't feel safe talking to you in these conversations. And that wasn't always, sometimes it was a me problem.
Yeah.
Because you were afraid that I was going to react poorly or I had reacted poorly and got defensive, but it wasn't always the case. Sometimes it was just life that had trained you before me that you didn't know how to talk to me about. But like every time you ever said that, it fucking slapped me in the face. Like that was one of the biggest, this is not okay. We have to get through this because if we can't get past this, we can't get past, we're not going to be able to move forward with our relationship. Like we have to have that quote unquote safe space.
Yeah.
I hate that. Right? Like it's just stupid.
Hey guys, little quick interruption. If you're enjoying the content, please leave a like. And also don't forget to comment. We enjoy interacting with you guys and hearing your opinions, and it helps the algorithm.
It's also free to do. And if you really want to help make sure the show continues to do, hit the subscribe button and share the content across your social medias. It costs you nothing and it greatly helps the show.
One of the reasons, so I've done a lot of reflecting on that because now I feel safe talking to you. There's not a single thing that I'm worried about coming to you with anymore. One of the reasons I didn't feel safe in the beginning was you would jump to conclusions about your own meaning of what I was saying. And you would stick with it. Like it would take a lot of me being like, no, that's not what I meant, but that's what you said. No, that's not what I said. That's what you heard.
Right.
It happened the other day in the living room. I came out and I said something and you jumped to a conclusion. I was like, no, that's not what I said. And you're like, okay, well, what were you saying? Like you've really worked on it. I can tell that you've put a lot of patience is in the word. I don't know what word I'm looking for.
There's a lot of reflection of my life. I am going to always hear things the way that I interpret them. Mm-hmm. That is our cognitive bias at work.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who you are, because of your lived experiences and the way that your brain processes data, you are always going to interpret things the way that you interpret them. You can change that behavior. Neuroplasticity is a thing. You can learn new coping mechanisms, right? That's very common. But unless you're aware of those things and you're willing to do the work on them, they won't change.
Right.
And that is one of my biggest things. And it's why I used to call Tim all the time when I would get mad and my borderline would trigger, because I would always sometimes I would take things very literal, or sometimes I would be like, they're skirting the problem. They're trying to sugarcoat and they're really attacking me right now. And like, so I'm not even going to blame my borderline on that, because I don't think that all of that is. I think my reaction is a borderline reaction because it would become very extreme, very quick, and I would need somebody to talk me off the ledge. But I don't want to assume what you're saying anymore. I would rather have clarity before I get to the point of getting angry. And if I get defensive, that's normally not an anger thing. That's just me trying to explain my situation or whatever the case may be. Or if I think that you're coming at me sideways, right? Nobody wants to be attacked by somebody, and that becomes very problematic for people. But I thank you for that. I'm glad that you've noticed that I've worked on that, because I do want to know what you're saying and give you the opportunity to explain what it was that you meant versus what it was that I assigned the meaning to. Shout out to the Courage to Be Disliked.
Yeah.
That Adlerian psychology has helped me a lot.
Next email.
Sure.
Husband, marriage dynamic, drive, ambition, passion, small business, and finances.
A whole lot of labels for a 5-page email.
Oh, let's see. Hello, I will go ahead and apologize for this long-winded message. I've had a bad habit of rambling a bit. Well, I hope you proofread. If we come across something in here about tree frog, I'm going to be like, what?
I mean, don't act like you're not going to be excited to talk about tree frogs.
I would be pretty excited to talk about tree frogs. Have you seen that couple on TikTok? There was an older couple on TikTok. They woke up one morning and this massive tree frog was living in their sink. Yeah, and like he wasn't stuck because they would come into the bathroom and he'd be in the faucet now, or like he's just chilling out in the bottom of the sink, and he finally came out and fucker's like this big.
That is not a tree frog.
I don't know what it was, but he was a big boy. And they were going to release him, but he was an invasive species to their area, so now they have a pet frog.
Huh?
And it made me happy.
Just runs around their house.
No, they got him a big old terrarium.
Okay, good.
Okay.
I just fucking side rolled so hard.
Yeah. I also just saw Zach say tweef frogs. I didn't say that, did I?
If you did, I didn't hear it.
Is that just you like doing a thing? Okay.
We need to do the lemon juice challenge still.
Oh.
And we have to make the TikTok where we argue face to face. But it needs to be really adorable shit.
Fucking love it when you pick up shit with your toes.
Yeah.
That was the funniest thing. So the other night, I'm sorry guys, we're side railing a little
It's
bit.
okay. We're killing time.
Husband and I stayed up until 2 a.m.
Doesn't happen very often.
I don't know what was in me. I don't know. Maybe it was the fact like I knew that we weren't going to have the kids this week. And I had like no mom responsibilities. So staying up, right? And I turned around and woke up at like 6:30 or 7. Very minimal sleep, not what I'm used to. And I was laying on the couch and I was half asleep. My husband comes out and he was like, I just saw a TikTok. I was like, word? I hadn't even opened my eyes yet. And he was like, they were face to face. And that's when I opened my eyes. And he was like, they were arguing. It was really funny. And then he got up in my face. And that was a really good way to start my day when I was super tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I like feeling your skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
What do you mean you love that?
I was going to make a dick joke.
I fucking knew it. You filthy. People like that F.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I did with that GIF that we have in the Discord. Yep.
We have, I think, only another week or two until the time changes back.
Oh God, I love that.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Now doing the email. I just wanted to start out by saying I love your clips on Facebook. Oh, you found us on Facebook. I love that. They led me to find you elsewhere. I was listening to your YouTube channel while doing chores today and wondered if maybe you guys could have some insight for my own life. Well, thank you for emailing in. My husband has dreams that I want to support so badly, and I'm just not sure how to do it anymore. We will need a little backstory, so buckle in. For starters, my husband and I communicate very well. We have put 7 long years into building a strong relationship and understanding how the other communicates and copes with general life.
Oh, what happened? Sorry.
You're good.
I hit the escape button. Escape.
Escape. That's funny. It's spelled just like escape.
Where were we?
We have
There we go.
2 children under the age of 10. My husband actually stepped up as a dad in my son's life when my son was 1 year old. Not that it is relevant, just for the backstory. We own a small trailer that we are slowly turning into the home we want. 7 years ago, it only had 1 bedroom and a sad little add-on as far as living quarters. One of these small rooms was set up as his tattoo studio at the time.
Pause. I hate that.
Me too.
I know that there are a lot of states that do not have regulation when it comes to tattooing, but tattooing out of your home is problematic.
Yes.
Not even on a client aspect. But let's talk about that first. MRSA is prevalent.
Yes.
Staph infection can jump the species barrier. So if you have pets, that's a problem. The reality of your home being as clean as a tattoo studio is a fucking problem.
Yeah.
Now, let's add the fact that there will be biohazardous waste because there's blood being involved. And a lot of people who tattoo out of their house have never had a proper bloodborne contamination class. And their entire fucking house is cross-contaminated with shit.
Yeah.
Hepatitis can live outside of the body. Hepatitis C specifically can live outside of the body for 6 weeks. So if you have a cut on your finger, a paper cut even, and you clean something up without a glove on and there's hepatitis on it, even if it's dry, you can contract hepatitis C.
Or your children pick up something and put it in their mouth.
Right. And even though hepatitis C is curable now because interferon injections in your stomach can make hepatitis C go away, do you really want to fucking do that?
Right.
Guys, if you're going to be a tattoo artist, be a fucking tattoo artist. Go get a job at a shop or open a shop.
I would also be concerned. Not all of our tattoo clients are the best kind of people.
Right.
I don't want people to know where we live, especially if there are children involved.
Right.
You don't know the background of every client you get in that chair. I'm not willing to risk that.
Real quick before we move on, if you guys are new to Patreon, because I've seen a whole lot of people saying that this is their first live here. If this is your first Patreon live, put a 1 in the chat so we can say hello to you.
Ooh, I want to see that.
We'll take a moment and address every single one of you individually.
Are we going to do that right now?
We'll wait until they come through. We can read the next paragraph.
Continuing on, when my son and I came into my husband's life, he was an aspiring tattoo artist. He did not have a payroll job. His roommate did. When we, my son and I, finally moved into my husband's house, we found out we were pregnant with my daughter. Amazingly to me, coming from a horrendous relationship previously, my husband had me quit my 2 jobs I had at the time so I could stay home with my toddler and just be pregnant while he went to work. Mind you, I had 2 jobs as I was a single mother when I met my husband. As time went on, he tattooed less and less. It was actually sad to watch him sort of lose his drive and passion for it.
Okay, so pause right there. If he actually had a passion for tattooing and he wanted to be a tattoo artist, he should have went and got an apprenticeship.
Yes.
And did that for a job. I don't know. I mean, I do, but I don't know many tattoo artists that make less than $70,000 a year.
Right.
I know a whole lot of tattoo artists that are pulling 6 figures consistently. I know a few of them who are pulling a couple 6 figures. So there's a lot of money in the tattoo industry if you're good at it and you got good customer service. So before we move on, Christina Lundy, hello.
Hello.
Robbie Austin, hello.
Welcome.
Shayla Woodworth, hello.
Hi.
Tolver, hello. It's your second. That's it. So hello, everybody. Thank you for
Chelsea is
being
also
here.
here for her second live.
Oh, yep. She didn't put a number, though. I missed that. Good call. Good catch.
Thanks for coming back.
Yeah.
Glad you guys weren't scared off.
Yeah.
When I think of somebody tattooing out of their home, they're a scratcher to me.
Yeah.
I don't view that as a tattoo artist.
As an overall statement, I agree.
Yeah.
However, I know people who are world-class tattoo artists that don't work in studios anymore. They travel conventions, work conventions, and tattoo out of their hotel rooms.
I view that differently.
Right. So do I.
Yeah.
Right. Because there's a difference between having a career and being so specialized that you can do things like that. If I had a sterile paper, like a sterile pair of gloves, I could set up in a fucking dumpster and set up on a sterile field and do like stitches in there if I needed to. All I need is that sterile field because I know how to not cross-contaminate things. But there's a whole lot of life that went into that. I know all the nurses in the chat are probably fucking cringing at that statement. But if you have an area where you can set your sterile paper down and you don't break the sterility barrier inside of that, everything inside of that is clean.
Continuing on.
Yes.
For the record, I applaud stay-at-home mothers. Fast forward to baby girl being born.
We're about to get a but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fast forward to baby girl being born. I slowly went stir crazy and being cooped up with a toddler and a baby. Being a stay-at-home mom is just not my thing. I love my children, but I love to work and have that feeling of providing. Been a fun time figuring out our home dynamic for that reason, and that is for another day. So when my husband came home talking about leaving his job, I encouraged him to do so. That way I could work and he could stay home with the babies. In this time, my son had his own little kid-proof room, and my husband and I used the living room as our bedroom. The struggle was real. I wanted privacy. I wanted intimacy. I wanted space. So I told my husband he needed to either start tattooing and bringing in revenue or take the tattoo room apart for the baby to move into so we could have our own space in a sense.
I hate that there was a baby in the house. He was tattooing out of his house. I hate it so much.
Yeah.
I hate it so much. I want to touch on the intimacy aspect. I wanted privacy. I wanted intimacy. I wanted space. All of those are individual sentences, not commas. I have intimacy with you no matter where we're at. I'll make jokey jokes. Try to get you off in public places. Secret touches.
Yeah.
Secret winks. Secret hand signals. Butt touches. Tell you how hot you are. Tell you I want to wear you like a cock sock. Whatever.
Oh my God.
There are so many things that you can do that is intimate to your person if you know them well enough to make that intimacy an all the time thing.
I also have a praise kink, so that's pretty easy.
Yeah. Yeah. I also didn't understand how like developed that was until recently. Made things way fucking easy.
It doesn't take much. You can open the car door, smack my ass, and say, "Load up, good girl," and that's it. Like, okay.
Oh, man. The point that I was trying to make is that intimacy is not sex.
Right.
It's everything else around the sex that makes the sex special, because otherwise you're just a hole that provides a little bit of a friction that hopefully satisfies both of you.
Mm-hmm.
So the intimacy is so much more than that.
Yeah. Shout out to Jamie Russell, first Patreon live.
Love that.
Buff Bell walked into Cocksock.
That's a pretty big thing to walk into. It definitely wasn't peaches if you're walking into it.
Oh my gosh. my Kegels are working. Hell yeah.
That's funny.
All right. Continuing on. In this time, my son had, I read that. I'm flustered. You need to scroll, babe.
Oh, sorry.
By the time I got home from work the next day, he had the kids set up in what was the tattoo room and our bed moved into another. That was the first time I realized he is a doer, LOL. It wasn't my intention for him to just stop tattooing altogether. And so we sat down and had a discussion. I let him know I was just trying to motivate him to tattoo again as we needed the income and he was home anyways. That was not the conversation that you had. That you were just trying to motivate him to tattoo again as you guys needed the income. You said either start tattooing again or we're taking over the baby's room. So that wasn't the conversation that was had. If that was your intention, you were not clear.
Right.
Continuing on, he let me know it was unrealistic for him to tattoo people and take care of our 2 small children at the same time.
Thank God.
Right.
Could you?
That was my first thought.
Dude, all I see in this whole... So if there's a bad scenario, my brain is going to hit it. Yeah. And all I can see is somebody sitting there with no gloves on using a fucking wash rag, tattooing with like homemade tattoo equipment, smoking a cigarette, and then picking the baby up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like bouncing them on their knee while trying. It just, every like wrong thing that you can think of and what that environment would look like is fucking happening right now in my brain.
Yeah.
But this is also 30 years in the tattoo industry.
Right.
I had somebody tell me once that it was okay that they got pierced in the bathroom because the toilet seat was down and it was sterile. People are not fucking intelligent. It was not even it was a bathroom at school or at the mall even.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It wasn't, I remember.
It wasn't even like an at-home.
I remember specifically the chick that said that it was not done in a like home bathroom.
Oh, you know, I could see an at-home bathroom. I could pierce somebody in an at-home bathroom.
All you need is sterile gloves.
Right.
Because you got your sterile field.
Like.
But still, have you ever gone in there? Have you seen the poop light? There's fecal matter. If you can smell poop when you walk into a bathroom, you are breathing in shit particles. There have been people that have gone in with black lights that show fecal matter and show you that there's fecal matter on everything in your bathroom, which is why you should keep your toothbrush in like a medicine cabinet or keep the thing on it or whatever.
That's why you close the toilet lid when you flush.
And well, in our case, we're to the door, but I've been in prison. You don't get that option. Right. So like I'm brushing shit on my teeth. That's all there is to that. Like, but I think about that. And every time I guess maybe that says a lot about me because I don't think about it when it comes to my toothbrush until just now. And now that's a whole fucking problem for me. But I feel the need to go like gurgle bleach.
Yeah.
Next time I go, hey, your breath smells like shit. Know that I meant it. We have to move on because that's stressing me out now.
Yeah. That also him saying that he can't realistically watch the kids and tattoo at the same time. That was also my first thought.
Yeah.
That's not possible, especially if he has someone in the chair for 6 hours, right? Getting tattooed. I have not tattooed somebody for 6 hours. My longest tattoo took 3 hours. And that's because it was a full color bow on the back of someone's thigh. I've been tattooed for 8 hours at a time. I'm going 2 or 3 hours without a break. Because we're going to take that 15-minute break and we're going to come back and that's going to hurt a whole lot more than if we just kept going.
Right.
So I want to sit here for as long as I can before we need to take a break. So having 2 children, including an infant or a newborn, going 2 to 3 hours unsupervised is a massive problem. So I'm glad that he commented on that and was like, no, that's not doable unless you're home and not working.
Right.
Continuing on, and so for a while, I thought I killed his dream. I forgot to mention we live in the smallest little desert town in Nevada, 200 miles either direction from hospitals, doctors, and even Walmart. This will be relevant as we go on.
But I bet you're right next door to a Dollar General.
Oh, hell yeah. Have you seen those memes of like at the bottom of the Mariana Trench is a Dollar General. Yeah. That shit makes me laugh.
Nobody for 500 miles. Perfect spot. Boom,
Yes.
right there. When they built one here in Northport, they put it in a residential neighborhood.
That's funny.
If you go up Price, there's that one. I lived a block from that when they were doing that. I was like, why the fuck would they put a Dollar General right there? But knowing that those roads that it intersects are technically like big roads that are getting widened, it totally makes sense. It was a great purchase on their part, but
really good long-term sight with that one, definitely. Okay, continuing on.
Are we at this paragraph?
No, we are not.
Okay.
For years, he and I kind of traded off who would work and who would stay with the children as the situations changed. During this time, we discussed him picking it back up. We added a huge bedroom, currently working on a bathroom and another add-on. And I assumed we had enough space for him to at least try to pick up his passion again. So when I would stay home, I would encourage him to tattoo here and there, but it seemed like he just lost his drive for it altogether as the years went on. Fast forward again, last year, our daughter started school. We both began to work as we didn't need someone home with the babies anymore, and quite frankly, needed more income. As he interacted with people at work again, he slowly started to, spark. I could see that the want and the ambition, I could see the want and the ambition in his face. He lit up again when he spoke about tattooing. He started drawing again, so I pushed. Mind you, it's been years. So he said he would pull out of his equipment and practice a bit so he wasn't rusty, but he began tattooing again. I feel like I should add in some other things I skipped over. My husband isn't licensed yet.
Yeah, you didn't need to add that. We know. If he's tattooing out of his house, he's not licensed.
Yeah.
I have such a hard time with the emails when people talk about tattooing out of their house.
I get that. He has all the things together to do it, except for the extra cash. It is expensive to become a legit tattoo artist on paper.
No, it's not. That's bullshit.
It's not.
Being a licensed tattoo artist doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm. It just means that you got a document saying that you took the necessary classes to understand cross-contamination and all those other things.
Right. Depending on what state you're in, you might have to take some courses.
Mm-hmm.
But even being licensed doesn't mean that you're good at it.
Right.
In Florida, you have to take a 3-hour course to become a body piercer. It doesn't teach you how to pierce.
Mm-hmm.
It teaches you about bloodborne pathogens and cross-contamination. And once you get that certificate, you can apply for a piercing license and have never pierced a single person. That's all it takes. In Florida, to get a license to be a tattoo artist, you have to be employed by a studio because the shop is also licensed. Once you have that license, you do a 1-hour course online about cross-contamination once.
Yes.
Body piercers have to do that course every year.
Yeah.
They do it one time. I'm sorry, it's a 3-hour course one time, but it's online.
Yeah.
You never have to do it again. And then at that point, if you have a portfolio, you can go into a shop and go, I want to be a tattoo artist. I don't have my license here. I just moved here.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll show the portfolio and they'll go, okay, you're good enough to hire. They'll hire you. You go to the health department and say, here's my certificate. Here's where I work. I need my license. It's $60. It's not fucking hard to become a licensed artist.
It's not.
Now, there are other states where it's different.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that. Vibe, if you're in the chat, can talk about how hard it is to tattoo in Washington State. I don't know. But every state has different regulations and some don't even have requirements to be licensed as a tattoo artist.
Yeah.
Being licensed does not mean that you have an aseptic environment or a sterile field or understand cross-contamination or using new equipment or...
Means you have an attention span.
Means that you were able to pass tests. I fucking hate it so much. I hate it so much.
Mm-hmm. Continuing on.
Yeah.
We don't have the best work opportunity. Just last year, I finally landed a career job instead of just being a waitress. My husband works at a gas station. It isn't the most money, but we are making it. We have struggled for years to have a decent car and just got our very first car loan and are recently just kind of leveling up. We still don't have the most space, but I have added 4 pets to our family by this time. Why? Oh my gosh, and you're trying to tattoo out of your home?
4 pets. Staph infection can jump the species barrier.
Oh my goodness.
So if your dog goes outside, steps in something that gives them a staph infection or is wrestling or whatever, and he reaches down and touches his leg after the animal brushed upon it and it's on his glove and he touches the client, he will give them a staph infection.
Okay. Pets are expensive. I wasn't going to say this, but I'm going to say this. Pets are not a cheap thing to have in your home. Emergency vet visits, grooming, making sure that they have food, all of the things that you may need to maintain that pet's best version of their life. If you guys are already struggling and are having a hard financial time, why do you have 4 pets?
I'm curious what it would look like for those 4 pets, because ours, we're about $500 a month with the dogs.
Yeah.
That's not including grooming. That's food, snacks, things that they
Treats.
need.
Yeah.
You add the grooming on, it gets a little more expensive, especially with Dumbo over here. But
big boy.
Can't fucking wait until she shaves him down.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that poor people can't have pets. I'm not saying that. If you are already stretched very thin with your finances, why add that extra stressor into what's already going on?
Yeah.
And then multiply that by 4. Continuing on, well, he refuses to tattoo in an environment that can't be completely sanitized, which I respect fully. And so he was mobile.
Okay, wait. You know what? I'm done. I'm done touching on the tattoo thing. I'm ready to like fucking, my head's going to explode over this.
I can tell.
I'm done.
Okay. Continuing on. And so he was mobile. He began to take more appointments and finally sat down and told me this wasn't it. He cannot stand tattooing in other people's houses as he cannot guarantee the cleanliness of his environment. You know, I love hearing him be so adamant about, I can't do this properly, so I'm just not going to do it. I respect that.
Yeah.
I do. He has a problem with so many animals being in the household. He could have tattooed while the kids were in the house. He could have just not given a fuck. But he was a responsible father and said this is not the best decision to do. Cross-contamination could have been part of that conversation. If he is on top of his shit and knows everything he needs to do to be a proper and good tattoo artist when it comes to those kinds of things, I respect that 100%.
Okay, so what kind of surfaces is he setting up on?
Well, that wasn't described.
Right. But if he's mobile and he's going to other people's homes,
right.
Most people don't have a stainless steel top.
Right.
Or a properly sealed anything. If he's using a kitchen countertop, that's food's prep there.
Right.
There's just so much.
Yeah. It sounds like he cares though.
That's awesome.
Like it. Okay.
Lee Loaf in the house.
She keeps scratching at my hip and it hurts. Okay. Continuing on. So we moved back into the living room and set the tattoo. You can't scroll, babe.
Oh.
Thank you. So we moved back into the living room and set the tattoo room back up. It has been a slow start, which is taking a toll on him. He keeps telling me this may just not be for him after all, but I see him. I know he loves it. He is genuinely talented, and I just can't see him throwing that away because I walked into his life. So to sum it up, we struggle a bit financially and we don't have the resources to see his dream through, but I want to so badly. It seems like nothing we do really gets us anywhere but back at another beginning.
Right, we're gonna really get into this.
Oh yeah. The license really is still sitting on the back burner, hindering him from moving forward. There isn't anywhere in this town for him to apprentice, so that is out. And we can't advertise him tattooing out of our house to get money to pay for the license. People do trust him to tattoo, but I don't want him in trouble as he is a reformed felon, so to say. We like to keep our noses clear, LOL. I've thought of so many things. I'm curbing my spending, trying to budget, etc. But extra money does not seem to be a thing in my house these days. I can imagine that with a family of 4 and 4 pets on top of it. Maybe start my own little business making crafts for the extra cash. Put it back on the back burner again until the kids are older and we have more money for the license. Stop our renovation so that we can save for him to have a legit shop. Just kind of let it be what it is. I've thought about us in so many circles, mostly because I overthink, I suppose, that I figured bringing it up to you guys couldn't hurt. I have to do something before he gives up on himself. I guess my question here is, what would you guys do? I guess I'd just like some outsider's insight on the best move here. I feel like we are stuck and I am just not done growing. Thanks for reading. I'm not sure there is help to be had here. Maybe the struggle is just ours to own and fight through just the 2 of us.
Before anything, he needs to do at least bloodborne pathogens and cross-contamination courses.
Yeah.
Multiple, not just one. Okay. Nevada tattoo license requirement.
Before we jump into that, if this man doesn't want to do this, he doesn't want to do this. Continuously pushing him into something that he no longer gets enjoyment out of, or it frustrates him, or now is just not the time, except that it's not the time. You guys are it sounds like you're living in the middle of bumfuck nowhere of Nevada. So if it's going to be this hard to make this happen, I would put the whole tattooing thing on the back burner. It doesn't sound like there's an easy solution to this. You're 200 miles away from anything significant.
Right.
And there's no tattoo studios near you.
Right. I wonder what kind of like law is there.
Yeah.
To be that far away from anything significant and there not being any tattoo shops there sounds like the Wild West to me.
Yeah. Oh, CamJan04, this is their first Patreon live.
Love that.
Oh, dang, as you're looking that up, Jenna just said, you chose to add these animals while saying we can't afford the license. And also saying, I want to do this for him. You might, but you wanted the pets more. That's a really good point.
Yeah. Any person wishing to open a permitted facility should complete it. Okay, that's an application, consumer guidance document, online application, and process payment fees, floor plan, infection control plan, simple logs and forms required, building specifications. You can set up a mobile establishment. So you could build a bus and tattoo out of a bus in Nevada if you can build it properly. It says for
14 days.
Yeah.
That would be something I would just move and park 5 feet over. Stay there for 14 days, move and park 5 feet over, stay for 14 days.
Right. I'm going to just look at the AI aspect because this is the AI overview. It says to get a tattoo license in Nevada, you must be 18 years old, complete a bloodborne pathogen training course, and have a minimum of 6 months experience. You can apply for a body art card or microblading card from the Southern Nevada Health District. The experience is 6 months of experience in a licensed tattoo shop in Nevada or another state. Complete a 6-month or longer apprenticeship at a permitted tattoo shop. Complete the bloodborne pathogen training program that complies with 29 CFR 1910.1030. Complete the training within 10 days after employment and annually thereafter. There's a health district sanitation exam you have to pass. Provide proof of the bloodborne pathogen training and have an ID. Tattoo and piercing shows require. Okay, that's not relevant.
It was $115 for me to get my bloodborne pathogens completed.
Yeah, that's because you had to physically go.
Right. And every year after that, it was like $40 to renew it online.
Right. Yeah, once you go, you don't have to physically go there anymore. You just have to do the first one. I want to find the prices because it's not expensive. The issue is he doesn't work in a shop.
Right.
And he doesn't have an apprenticeship. So even if he can afford a license, he can't get one.
Right.
Because you have to show that you've worked in a studio for at least 6 months before they'll hire you or give it to you. First time test and card is $175.
And then card renewal is $25.
Yeah. Yeah. And it can't be expired for more than 2 years. $50 if there's a late fee incurred. And then a retest fee is $150. You can get an apprentice card to have a minimum of 6 months of experience or training, possess current certification of bloodborne pathogen, proper ID. You have to complete a form. There's a 30-question thing that you have to do at the health department. You have to pass with at least 80%. The training book is provided online. And then after working for at least 6 months under a mentor, which there's a mentor license that you have to have if you want to apprentice people in Nevada. It's there. It's all there. Let's go back to the other one because there was a link for the mentor card. I wonder what that cost. Mentor card. To be eligible for a mentor card, you have to work for 4 years consecutively in a studio or have 4 years of body art experience outside of Clark County. That's it. And that card's $25. So you have to pay $25 and pass a test and say you've been tattooing for 4 years in order to get
to be a mentor,
to be able to do apprenticeships.
Yeah. The whole, it's very expensive to become licensed in Nevada is a lie.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you guys are looking at. I don't know if he looked into it and then he lied to you because he doesn't want to do it. I don't know if nobody looked into it and you're just assuming it's expensive. $100 and what did it say? $150 to get
$175 total, but he has to apprentice for 6 months first.
Yeah, $175 is not outrageous to me. Right now, if it was $1,000, I can see how people could be struggling to make that happen. If he doesn't want to do it, right? So I'm really hung up on that. He said that this might not be for me. And this might have to go on the back burner. Like I said, it might be another 5 years before he's able to make that happen. You guys don't have the space for it. You shouldn't be tattooing out of your house anyway. You guys don't have the space for it. There's no tattoo studios near you. If this is something that he like die hard had to make happen, I would be more concerned about moving to an area where we can make it happen versus trying to make it happen where we're at. And just because people trust him to tattoo him doesn't mean anything to me. I've seen people walk into really shady places because they want what they want and they want to get it as cheap as they can.
Right.
So
I wonder if there's different requirements to open a shop in Nevada. You can open a shop with 6 months experience. Once you get your license there, like if you apprentice for 6 months and get your like actual license, your body art card, you can open a shop.
Yeah.
So if he really wants to be a tattoo artist, he's going to have to find somewhere to work for 6 months in order to get that license. And then he can open his own studio. I want to look at Washington State because Washington State, from what I understand, is a whole lot harder to do. So it's $250 to apply online in Washington State. You have to do a bloodborne pathogen certification and so you have to do the bloodborne pathogens.
It's a lot of dedication. It takes time. And if you're not working while doing your apprenticeship, you don't get paid to be an apprentice.
Yeah.
So I can see a struggle coming in on that. If I were this couple and he was dead set on becoming a tattoo artist, I would be focused on saving money to move.
Yes.
I would be looking at areas we could go to either within Nevada or out of the state that is a cheaper living expense to make that happen. Nevada is, from my understanding, is not a cheap state to live in.
Depends where you're at.
Yeah.
There's a lot of poor in Nevada.
Yeah.
Being in Vegas is one thing. Like
Right.
in that area is very rich, but there's a whole lot of poor outside of Nevada. Some of the poorest I've ever seen is driving through the reservations going to Antelope Canyon. Like there were people holding the roof on with car tires. Like there was a whole lot going on in that aspect. But if you live that far away from people and there's no real regulations and you're kind of in the wild, wild west, you're not going to get caught doing anything wrong in terms of tattooing anyways.
Right.
The health department's not going to drive 200 miles to dig through your trash to find out if you're breaking the law.
Yeah.
And then what does that even entail? In Florida, it's a felony if you're tattooing outside of a shop.
Yeah.
They'll make it so you can never get licensed and there's a $10,000 fine if somebody fucking reports you to the health department and they can prove it.
Yeah.
The health department has to get law enforcement to go dig through your garbage on garbage day to find out if there's used needles or tattoo rags, like people using like Bounty or whatever, if there's contaminated material in your garbage, which could create other problems for bloodborne pathogens and biohazardous waste, because we have extensive laws for that as well. But honestly, when it comes down to it, if you really want to be a tattoo artist, he has to find an apprenticeship or he'll never do anything more than he's currently doing.
Yeah.
And if he's not making substantial amount of money doing it, is the risk to reward really there? Especially since tattooing is nothing more than an art form.
Right.
You can paint, you can draw, you could do graffiti, you could build walls. Like you could build a wall that you could take outside as a graffiti artist so that you're not ruining anything in your house, and you could hang up a canvas and spray paint canvas. Let it dry and sell that shit on the internet.
Yeah.
There's so many things that you could do with your art to make money artistically. It just doesn't have the same financial reward as tattooing does.
Right.
But if you're living in a super small town and there's no real money there anyways, how much money are you really making tattooing? You're definitely not charging $200 an hour.
Yeah.
Even at $50 an hour, like if you're only tattooing for an hour here and there, that $50 is probably a lot when you're fucking broke. But that's not even what most studios charge.
Right.
Your cut on $100 tattoo in a studio for the hour is more than the $50 that you would make charging out of your house.
I want to touch on, when I said cost of living, I didn't mean people had money in Nevada. I meant that the cost of living at going grocery shopping and buying a house and all those kinds of things makes it hard to live there. So if they could move to, I don't know, South Dakota. I don't know the cost of living in South Dakota. But if it's cheaper to buy a gallon of milk there and you are able to save money as much as you can living elsewhere, that would be my first move of looking to go somewhere else where we can dial that back.
Yeah. Of course, everything's going to show Las Vegas. The median rent in Las Vegas for 2024 was $1,400 a month.
Yeah.
Single family homes in Vegas are usually in the 300s to 1 million. Of course, this is all Vegas. I would love to see stats for outside of Vegas.
Well, we drove through a few small towns on the way to Death Valley, and there were, median incomes where they were making $29,000 to $30,000 a year.
Right, which is nothing.
That is nothing. And if they're going to the grocery store and a gallon of milk is $5, like,
okay,
that's what I was talking about.
That makes a whole lot of sense. My brain didn't go to groceries.
Okay.
My brain went to rent. The average cost of living versus the minimum wage, or like what the average income is made. So you're right. Food is super fucking expensive, especially out there, because it's
harder to get.
Right. Yeah, that was very, very good. We were just not there.
Okay.
I was not there. You were fucking totally there.
Yeah.
Good job, baby.
I knew where I was at.
I was not. If you live somewhere where the average income is only $30,000 a year, move.
Yeah.
Find somewhere where the average income is higher.
Because you're going to become part of that average.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I know it's hard to do that.
Right.
People are like, well, I'm already fucking broke. How am I going to move? You get in your car and you just go.
When you have children and 4 dogs,
A little
and
harder.
all of that added on,
Little
definitely
harder.
makes it more difficult. That doesn't mean it's impossible.
Right. It's definitely hard. I'm not negating the fact that it would be difficult to do those things. I'm saying that it's possible if you want it bad enough.
Yeah, you would find a way to make it work.
You really just put her ass right up on the table.
Oh no, she did that.
Because Carrie's been putting a towel here
Yeah.
and she sits on the towel while Carrie edits.
Her hind legs are still on my lap. She's just resting.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
We should put on like cat videos for her to watch and bark at your monitor.
Could you imagine her leaping at the monitor because she sees a cat on there?
That's
My
funny.
goodness. Say bye, Lilo.
Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. For those of you who are on Patreon, there'll be another link in the Discord here in a minute. With that being said, guys, remember you are the author of your own life,
So grab a pen.
and we will see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.